Au bureau, il faut savoir mettre des limites. Dans les plaisanteries, dans le travail même, il faut avoir des barrières en fait. Sécuriser son environnement, c'est tout ça. Physique et émotionnel.
Tous ces diplômes qui se promènent de partout et que vous devez faire la différence parmi toutes ces personnes, il faut que vous ayez une valeur ajoutée. C'est de cela qu'il s'agit.
Insisting that you must be a logistic officer, then you're missing your dream. You need to look at your CV. After this meeting, come to me, bring your CV, bring your mission statement to me, and let's talk about your brand new.
It's Adeline and I'm back today. How are you? I'm sure you missed us last week, didn't you? Well, we are back with the Corporate Women in Leadership Show. Corporate Women in Leadership Show. Corporate Women in Leadership Show. So today is another fantastic day and we're going to be spending 1.5 hours with two fabulous, fantastic women. And if we are so lucky, then we're going to have a gentleman join us to give us a gentleman's perspective. But if not, don't worry. We're still going to have him next week anyway. So what are we discussing today? Our topic for today is one topic that we've actually looked upon and frowned upon. Frowned upon because we are most often confused. We don't know what it means. You know, sometimes you hear people say work-life balance and we're like, okay, what's that? Is that the kind of sports that we go around and do? Is that the kind of, spending time with my kids or my family? Is that psychological? Is that physical? There are a lot of questions that goes around work-life balance and sometimes we are not sure. But one thing we know is that research has proven that work-life balance is great for us. And of course, for our work, and of course, for our family, and of course, for our friends. So we decided to discuss about work-life balance today because there is an absence, isn't it? Since the start of COVID-19, there is an absence of what we do and how we do it. There are certain things that we've not been able to do purely because we are confined, at home, or we are confined at work, we're confined, wherever we are. But then again, we have to understand that we must try to balance things up. We have to balance things up all the time. It is very important for us to do so, isn't it? So we'll be having a conversation today. The rules is very, quick to the point, straight to the point. We have our top questions that we ask. But then what actually makes this show interesting are the questions that you ask. So as soon as our speakers start talking, you have to start thinking about the questions that you want to ask them. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. I met Jennifer, a few months ago in London, and I happened to work on the last edition of Corporate Awards with her. We were hosting Corporate Awards in Senegal, and I met her very last minute. But the expertise that she brought on the table actually got me wowed. And I thought, oh my God, I wish I had met her a long time before this. I do host events, but sometimes when you meet people who do events and those who host events, you know the difference, isn't it? Because she does this on a full-time basis. But before doing it, she has an extensive, years of experience in the hospitality sector. So she knows what it takes to manage people in these very stressful environments. She also knows what it takes to take into consideration or put into consideration the fact that those working in her team have got a life to balance up. If you know how demanding and the hospitality industry is, then you will know what I'm talking about. It is so demanding because you plan, you have all your plan put together, you have the time that you've put aside that, is going to cover from this time to this time. Then what happens? Things always happen at the end that pushes you way beyond where you actually wanted to end. So as someone who has an expertise in this sector, she's going to be telling us how she manages, the work-life balance, what you should do, and what research or experts have recommended. She also manages a concierge service in London, the heart of London. So if you know what I mean, she has to flex her programs around some of these very, very high-profile personalities that she works with all the time. She can't really say this is my program because she might have her program, but her program truly depends on some of the high-profile personality that she manages as well. And you know what it takes. If you have, for example, Beyonce or Rihanna who is coming and you're the one taking care of her, you might have all the planning that you need, but they always have their own way of working. So she'll be telling us all about how she juggles between her family, her life, and what you should be doing as well. And then the next we have Mercy Ngesang. I've known her almost all my life. It's talking about someone who is so precise, attention to detail, someone who takes into consideration, who puts everything in place and makes sure things are perfect. It is Mercy. She's very meticulous in her planning. She's very loyal in the things that she does. Sometimes life throws things at us and we are wondering how we want to deal with these things. Mercy is a qualified psychiatric practitioner. She's based in the USA, and she manages, a range of people from different backgrounds. She has an expertise of dealing with work-life balance because she's also a mom of 3, and she has to make sure her life is balanced. She's not just going to be telling us about her and her life, no, but she wants to bring on board the expert knowledge, not just of managing people, but what it does to you, what the lack of work-life balance can do to you. So I'm so happy I have these 2 women with me today. And if we're so lucky, then we're going to have Tar Ojong Tar at the end to join us. But if not, don't worry, he'll join us next week anyway. So let's go. And thank you so much for joining. Let me acknowledge some of the people who've joined us and just say, hey ho, who can I see? Hi, Mimi. Mimi is there with us today. Thank you so much for joining us as usual. Who else can I see? I can't see. Okay, let me just see who's there. Hi, Mimi. She says hi. So there we go. I can see some eyeballs, and in a minute I'll be able to, to bring them on and say hi and thank you for coming. In the meantime, let's just go back to a little clip of our video, what we do in Corporate Women in Leadership, the places we've been to, and some of the things that we do. So here we go.
Is not what it seems. We are the vices waiting for the virtues. We're not kings, we are not kings. Gotta get out before my heart explodes. Gotta get out before my heart explodes.
That was Senegal. That was Senegal 2019. And the video before that was Cameroon 2016. But in between, we've been to Gabon, Libreville 2017, and we've been to Cote d'Ivoire, Abidjan 2018. So the Corporate Women in Leadership initiative is an initiative which we put together a few years ago in 2015. And really, our mission is to support women in the corporate environment, women in the corporate sector, to know how to understand certain things that happen at work and to know how to deal with. We also have a pool of mentors, all very high profile personalities in the corporate world, and always happy to support younger women and men who want to come on board the mentorship program. 2 weeks ago, we had 2 very fantastic speakers. We had Nicoline Ambe, who offered $150 to 3 women who want to set up their own business, because she believes that in order for you to get to the corporate section, you must start somewhere. If you're not working for someone, you can work for yourself and you can build your standard to take up to the corporate standard, whereby you're going to be recognized as someone not only making the difference, but someone actually adding the standard. So let me pop on board our guests, because this show is more about what they have to say. It's about work-life balance. Please relax. If you don't have a cup of coffee, I have a cup of tea. So you might as well grab a cup of coffee. If you have somewhere that is very hot, like in the UK right now, in the US right now, in Africa, or any other part of the world that is hot, make sure you also have some water, because this show is going to start. And I'm so happy you were able to join us. Let me pop Jenny on the screen. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Adeline.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's amazing to have you on the show and to have you share your expertise, share your knowledge. So,
Thanks for having me. No problem at all.
You're so welcome. You're welcome. So you're tuning in from London, right?
That's right.
How is the atmosphere? COVID-19, we know almost everything is locked down, but how are you? How is it going?
Well, it almost feels like COVID-19 is gone. Everybody's out in the park. If you look at some of the beaches, they were quite crowded a few days ago. So when you can see a lot of people walking around without a mask or gloves, so I would say it's kind of worrying for me. I'm still in isolation and I just go out for grocery shopping, or just my kids goes to the park for a little walk, but we still keep social distancing. We respect social distancing.
Important.
So we don't just go out to go out, but people seems to be more comfortable to go out lately.
So there is hope there, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah,
So
definitely.
the number of cases, are they increasing in the UK or decreasing? Or is
It's up. I would say up and down.
okay.
But it's getting better. It's getting
Okay.
better. Some schools are reopening from the 1st of June next week. They put a lot of procedure in place.
Yeah.
And for example, my little 2 years old nursery is planning to reopen, but I've made a choice not to send him back because
Smart.
I just don't feel comfortable right now.
Very smart.
I think I'm one of the mom or parent who feels that it's still a bit too soon to go back to school. I just want to see until it settles a little bit, and then we'll make a decision in a few months' time, probably.
Very smart. Thank you so much, Jenny. And we're going to have a fantastic day today. That I can promise you. I can promise you. Let me pop Mercy. I want to get her. Hi, Mercy. Hello.
Hi, Adeline. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Mercy, you all right?
Yes.
So how are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
You're calling in from Texas, isn't it? Houston?
No, Fort Worth.
Okay. That's somewhere in Texas, yeah?
Yes, Dallas, Fort Worth area.
All right. So tell me, COVID-19, how is your situation? Is it calming down? Is it getting worse?
Talking about COVID first, I want to send out my condolences to those families, to those people who have been severely impacted and infected as well. My heart goes out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And also our healthcare heroes. Thank you for all your services. Thank you. I can't talk about COVID without thanking the healthcare. And even those in the community who are wearing masks, who are donating masks, donating gloves, doing the best they can, babysitting for healthcare workers who have to work. Oh my God, it's so incredible. Thank you so much for all you do. Before COVID, I think we settled in a normal life that we call normal. You ask someone who you are, and they're like, oh, I'm the director of this. I'm the CEO of this. Oh, I'm traveling here today. I'm traveling there tomorrow. But during these COVID times, said, oh, how are you? Who you are? Oh, I'm home with the kids. We're rolling on the floor. We're making some pancakes. We're doing this. I think let us pick some flowers from the mud. We have reconnected within ourselves and within our families, within our friends. We have created that chain. We have gone back. it is still there. Texas has opened up to 50% right now. I am still trying my best to self-quarantine as much as I can.
Mm.
No measure out there how we are measuring what people are doing out there. So whatever is safe, yes, places are open so that the economy can keep functioning. But the disease has not been contained. So it's still stressful just thinking about COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Jennifer said there is hope, and we are all looking forward to, to hope, and we should all think.
And to add to what Jennifer said, your kids' daycare open. My kids' soccer coach called the other day that they are starting soccer next week. Let's enroll them. I am not comfortable as well. How are they going to play and practice social distancing? But
Exactly.
they cannot play with masks on or with gloves on or with something. So how do they practice social distancing? And I can trust my kid, but do I trust the other kids? I know my kid's status. Do I know the other kid's status? So, and the status is not a permanent status. I can be negative today and positive tomorrow. So it's still a very gray area. It's still very stretchy.
Mm. All right, Mercy. Thank you. I think we all, as parents, we need to understand that it's all left to us as parents to do the things that we have to do. Our senses at this point need to be really alert. So let's go into our questions. And we're talking about work-life balance, and I'm just going to pop the names of our guests on the show so you can see who they are. Jennifer is the managing director for AMS International and to sell bespoke events, luxury event services, event manager here in England. Mercy is a PMHNP founder and CEO of World Women Organization, researcher and a speaker. And I, of course, am Adeline, CEO of Hammerflint Media Group. Please do share our link so that other people can join us and be inspired about work-life balance and what they need to do. Now let's crack on the topic, work-life balance. How are we going to what do we describe as work-life balance? Let's start with you, Jennifer. What would you say work-life balance is?
So work-life balance. I just have to start and say that first of all, the kind of person I am, and I've always been a workaholic. So one of my motto, and it's still the case, have been women can have it all. And until a few years ago, I would say until 7 years ago, when I became a mom, I saw that work-life balance meant being able to manage equally your career and your family. When you become a mom, you just realize that there's nothing such as a perfect work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
The focus will shift from one side to the other. So basically, you it's either you focus on work or you focus on your family. That's how I see it. So then, let me tell you why I came up with this is my opinion. A year ago, I made a big decision, and that's why it comes down to choices, and it comes down to set your priorities. So over a year ago, I made a big decision. I resigned from a 13 years position. I was in a senior role, and I worked there. I loved it, and that I was passionate about everything I used to do. That was my background in hospitality, and one day my sister came over to my place to meet me, and she said, "Jennifer, my gosh, there's so much stress in your house. It's filled with stress," and it was before resigning, before coming to that decision. I will just tell you a little bit of why I made that decision and why work-life balance is quite important to me. So when she said, "Look at your children, they're sponges, they can just feel the stress and all of that." So my life used to be waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work and then coming back, picking up the kids. Every mom will recognize each other, will understand what I mean. So all my life it's been rushing. So you go to work and you're running to go to work. Then you finish your shift. You don't even have time to socialize. You just end up getting changed and rushing. You can't even meet your colleagues in the corridor because all you have in mind is, oh my God, the school is closing, or your nursery's deadline is 6:30 or whatever time it is. After your long hour shift, you just want to pick up the kids and go back home to do what? Bath time, dinner cooking. You have just to jump in and just get it rush. And then what do? You snap quickly, let's go shower. And that's the rush and the pressure and all that. So I had one child, and then when I had the second, it became a different challenge. Everyone say, when you have one, you can have 2, 3, it's the same. It's not. So whoever is I'm not putting off women to have children. This is the best thing ever you can have. You can have a family. But all I'm trying to explain is the stress and the time that it took me to realize that this is not the life I want, because I just needed that trigger, that my sister came over for a few days to just say, Jennifer, there's so much stress in your house, you have to do something about it. And then I started thinking about that, started talking to my family people around me, just to get enough not support. I wasn't looking for support, but I was doubting myself, like women do. Men tend to take risk. They take more risk than women. We don't usually just do things, or we're always more worried. This is a woman thing, in my opinion. And so anyway, then a very good friend of mine, and he gave me that book, and I always bring this up because it really got into me. And he said, oh my God, Jennifer, you're stuck in your comfort zone. You're more than capable to do something else. Move on. 13 years in the same industry, company. You deserve so much better. You will grow so much if you just go do it, get it done. And then I was like, oh gosh, yes, but I'm earning a great salary. I know my job. I know my routine. I can do it with my eyes closed. And he gave me that book. So Take the Big Leap, which I recommend. And if you want it, you can just put in the comments.
Have you got the book on the background, or you can send us a link?
I will send it to you later if your audience wants it, and I can always give you the reference. It's a brilliant book. Take the Big Leap. If you're one of these women, it's just, I would say thank you, Izo, if you're watching me, because that was one of the best thing ever. It really helped me to make a decision. Not only that, then I spoke to all my close friends and family who supported me. And so I gave my resignation. I had 3 months notice. And what happened between the 3 months notice? I'm sure Mercy Adeline or any woman watching us today will feel that, will know what I mean. You start doubting yourself. You're like, oh my God, did I make the right decision? What, am I crazy? I'm going to lose that job with my all my years of experience, and I've built it up. I've started from scratch. What's going to happen if I leave? And I wasn't leaving to go and work for another employee in the same position or industry. I was actually leaving to start my own, to start a new chapter of my life with a baby and another child and a hubby who also has his own business. So you start thinking, oh my God, I'm taking too many risks. So anyway, I did it. That's the best thing ever, ladies. You have to make your own choices. You need to make your own decisions. Set up your priorities, because at the end of the day, we're not in this world to work, to live to work. We're here to work to live, isn't it? So that was a little bit of background of my story. So quickly, I'm just going to talk you through of what happened since that year, since I resigned. I've restructured an amazing company. I just set up my own event planning. I've organized amazing prestigious events all in 2019. Beautiful, amazing opportunities. I met the most beautiful people. Don't forget, because if I met you, Adeline, it's because I had time also to take the time with you. And the thing is, when you work on those jobs, you jump in, you wake up at 4, you go to work, you pick up your kids, you get zero life. You're miserable. you snap, you're moody, you don't meet your friends. And so it was a lot change. It really changed my whole life. So throughout the year, I've hired a business coach. He's amazing. I've got my business partner. He's the best mentor ever. And I've grown so much within that year. And so this is the best decision. Yes, indeed. I'm not saying it's all beautiful and there's no challenges. There are challenges. But the thing, the whole list that I've managed to do within that year is worth. I mean, that's the best decision I could make. And in addition, you've got time to socialize. You've got time to network. Networking in business, you meet the most beautiful people on earth. Everybody comes from different origin. Everybody comes from different background. Everyone has a story to tell you, and they are so they bring you so much. Oh my God, that's it. I think you got me talking, so I'll go to the show.
We're gonna come to that. We're gonna come to that in a minute. Don't worry, we have some time, so we'll come to that in a minute. But yes, you I mean, it's always very, very good when you connect this to connect the questions to how it has affected your life negatively or positively. And I truly do think the audience will pick some really amazing points from what you just said. And then I think we're going to be looking at question 3 at some point, which might actually give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about, the struggles and things like that. So we good. So Mercy, right. I know from a medical, put it that way, point of view, if you can just maybe align on what you understand as work-life balance, but then I would like you to include question 2, the signs of unhealthy working lifestyle, because this is something that we need to clearly identify. Why do we say we don't have a work-life balance? Why do we say it's not healthy? So what are some of the things that it does for us? And so Mercy, there you go. And for those who are just joining us, if I can just pop this banner so that you can see who Mercy is. I think I didn't do Jenny's. I'll do that later, but I'll just pop that there. And you can, sorry, that's Tao who's joining us in a minute. That's Mercy. She's the CEO of Women Organization, researcher, and World Women Organization, a researcher and also a speaker. But I'm a part of that. She's also a medical practitioner, and she has a lot to tell us today. So from medical side of things, Mercy, tell us, what do you think of work-life balance, and what are some of the signs, of an unhealthy working lifestyle?
Okay, talking about work-life balance. With the COVID situation, some people in the US thought if they do not work for 1 day or 1 week or 1 month, life will cease to exist. They do not believe that they can stay home at like 2 months and still live a very good life. This will mean good per a personal definition. So I came up with my own definition of what work-life balance is. And in my own terms, I don't think it's an equal distribution of time from work and from home. Let's say we have 24 hours in a day. You sleep for 8 hours, you're at home for 8 hours, and you're at work for 8 hours. No, to me, that's not work-life balance is what it's all about. Work-life balance is a personal thing. You can be 10 hours at work if you're living a fulfilled and satisfied life. If you have that balance, yes. If all what you're doing does not cause you any distress, if you can still do that and maintain a calmness with your family, yourself, and your community obligation, and still find emotional comfort and stability, then yes, you have a work-life balance, no matter how you carry it out. If you do it in a way that one life conflicts with fulfilling the duties of another part, if your personal life is conflicting with your work life, then you have an imbalance in there. If your work life is conflicting or preventing you from carrying out your family obligation, then you have an imbalance in there. And when we talk about balance in the medical or nursing field, we want to relate the body to the mind, to behavior, and to emotions as well. When you tie all those four, you can clearly assess yourself to see if you have a balance or an imbalance. For your body, and headaches, frequent infections because it's affecting your immune system. Your muscles are becoming tense, especially around the shoulder area. You're fatigued, you want to stay in bed each day, you don't sleep enough, you start feeling so irritated, you start having breathlessness just because your heart is beating so fast when you think about work or when you think about your chores at home. Then there's an imbalance somewhere. It affects your mind by you worrying too much. You start thinking too much. You start having an impaired judgment. You start having nightmares and insomnia and indecisions. Or you make hasty decisions that you don't think. And sometimes most of them are impaired because your mind is not balanced. See, your body is not balanced. It has affected your mind. You can be driving and be prone to having accidents. You lost your appetite. You lost your sex drive, you drink more, you have, like I said, insomnia, restlessness. For people who smoke, you start tending to smoke more. Behavior is changing. And what is that? What does that do to your confidence, your emotions? Your confidence lessens. You become more fussy and snappy. You become so irritable. Depression kicks in. Anxiety kicks in. You even become alienated to your own self. You ask yourself, is this real? Who is this I'm seeing in the mirror? Even self-care for whatever is making you feel like depreciating or not up to par with your obligations and what you have to do. You're experiencing an imbalance. And mind, body, behavior, and your emotions have to be together to create what they call in the medical field a homeostatic environment. You have to feel confident and stable inside you before you can tackle anywhere else.
Sorry, did I lose you or?
So I think I'm losing connection at night. You have to ask yourself, whatever work you're working, are you fulfilled with that job? Are you happy? And sometimes you can be happy with it, but you have other family obligations. See, like Jennifer has to step out. You have other families that require you to step out a little bit, especially when you don't have the help. A postpartum mom with no sleep or very little sleep and have very few support will not go to a job that she likes and still give it her 100%. So sometimes situations for the same person, the same job, the same family create an imbalance for that situation, which with some little adjustment, things will balance out.
So thank you, Mercy. We have some questions which I want us to quickly look at it and see if it is. We just want to pop on some comments so we see what people think about the reaction of people. You know. So we've got Mustafa who is watching all the way for. Mustafa, hi. Thank you for watching from Somaliland. Well done. Thank you for connecting. Hi, Nuella. She's present. Hi, Goretti. Hi. Thanks for joining us. So, Mustafa, thanks. I'm happy to join this session today. Thank you. We're happy to have you. Hi, Nicole. You're right on time from Yaoundé, Cameroon. Well done. Mimi, school extracurricular activities for this year is cancelled for my household. She's accepting with you girls. She's not sending her kids to any school. Better safe than sorry. Nilanj, hi, Corporate Women in Leadership. Nice to join you. That is amazing. Thank you for joining us. Mimi, the struggles of working moms. Exactly. We all go through things like that. Is so difficult, so challenging. More companies need to introduce work-life balance in HR policies as part of their employee benefit. Exactly. I think so. I think I agree with you 100% on that. If not, we're going to be losing very, very, valuable and, important member of our team. Oh, UK, 3 months since notice. Haha, USA, 2 weeks notice. We are good, huh? So yes, in the UK we do have 3 months. It depends on your, the level of
Position.
management position as well. And then we also have where was I? I was at the level of make your own choices. Exactly. Vivian is saying some people do not understand what you are going through. Exactly. As parents, some people do not understand what you're going through. But to be honest, we go through a lot, especially women. Diana says that's right. She's basically accepting. Testy, yes. So me in the UK, it is mostly 1 month for regular roles, 3 months for senior, and 6 months for some exec roles. But good thing is that it is on both sides. If your employer wants you to leave too, they have to give you same notice. So otherwise they pay you pilon, payment in lieu of service, which is good to know. Thank you, Tessie. I think that is very good to know. And Mimi is purely just saying yes to remote. So it's kind of conversation which is supporting what Tessie is saying. So the US is, they give you 3 months, they have killed it. So so US, I don't want to work in the US, I want to work in the UK, please. So Kremlin is saying by observation, women are capable of running a household, being at the forefront of fashion, running a business, educating children, and more. What is the tool used for such a success? We'll come to that. Solange is saying a sign on unhealthy work-life balance could be how you feel when you wake up in the morning and thinking about going to work. Are you excited, or are you like, I have to go to that place again? That is very true. That is a very powerful sign. And Masango Marion on point, Solange May tells you exactly what your state of mind is, and if you're happy on all fronts. Very, very true. Diane says it's refreshing to talk about such a valuable part of our everyday life. I think so too. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining in. And I think this conversation is one that every woman out there find truly connected to their soul, because they, at some point in their life, in their career, they are experiencing the lack of a balance, or actually no balance at all. So let's see what our third question is. Our third question is more on the struggle. So Jennifer, what are why do people struggle with work-life balance? If you might, why do we struggle to balance these things up? What are some of the points you can push out today?
I think why we're struggling is because nowadays it's all about perfection. Everyone is looking for perfection. Everyone wants to be successful at work. It's all around that perfectionism, and we all know that perfectionism doesn't exist. It's yes, you can reach out excellence. It took me years. Myself, I used to describe myself as a perfectionist, but it's there's not such a thing. You have excellence, you have great, and everyone wants to be successful at work. So the challenges that we face is when in the industry, I'm going to use the industry of hospitality, for example, but you can use any of your background if you're a lawyer or if you work as an engineer or whatever. But in the hospitality background, for example, yes, it did improve over the years in terms of, as one of the person in the audience mentioned, that we should implement the work-life balance in HR. In fact, some companies do. My previous company used to I would say they used to try, or they did it, but I don't know if it works or it doesn't, because in fact, let's not lie about it. There are some industry where you can't really implement it. There are some industry where you have to stand on 10 hours on your feet, and restaurants, hotels are the case. You have to work around the clock for 10 hours or 12-hour shift, and with only half an hour break. So you do get a break either at the beginning of your shift or at the, it's most of the time at the beginning of your shift. So if you think about it, you start early in the morning, you get your half an hour, but then you have to stand for another 9 hours without anything to eat. So that's one thing. So if you think about that, what body would accept not having any food? That's your energy throughout the day. So your whole body clock is not working properly. So that's a very small thing, but it's quite important in the long term. If you do it for years, over the years, which I did. And in terms of for companies like restaurants, hotels, it's mostly about business. So yes, you can't really I don't want to say it's I did put profit over business, but that's one of the things. Then there's a lot of work pressure, so you feel you've got a lot of pressure because we try to please others so much, and when you try to please others so much, then you want to be the best at work, you want to please your friends, you want to, that's how society makes it, like you want, it's all about pleasing and forgetting what you really want. So let's just see. I'm just trying to think, going back there. How many times did you guys say think 24 hours a day is not long enough? 24 hours, you think, oh, I wish I had more than 24 hours a day. But it's all about tracking your time. So it's more about being organized. It's more about planning, and rather than being at different places at the same time. And another point, the fear of job loss and failure. Yes, that's right. That's a good point. When you are trying to do so much and you want to please, you want to work so hard at work because you want to get that promotion. So you are worried. You don't want to say no. It's all about saying yes to everyone. Again, coming back to please everyone. The lack of support. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, so overwhelming is the thing. You want to do it all at the same time, not only at work, and then it's back at home, and the whole as a thing. You need to ask for help. So if you face we're facing all these challenges. You just need we tend not to ask for help, but you do need to ask for help. So get help from your mentor, get help from your partner, husband. You need to get help from whoever, your shrink if you have one. You just need to ask help.
I like that word.
Ask for boss, but we tend to leave it until very last minute. So what I'm trying to say is what I've reached out. I reached out almost to burnout, and this is why I had to make a decision. And you don't wait. We have so much challenges. Yes, we do, but don't try to please everybody. So what I want you to take out of what I'm trying to say is learn to say no, because we all tend to want to please everyone, and that there is no point there. You need to please yourself first, and then ask for help. Ask for support. If you can't pick up the shift in the evening because they ask you, your colleagues call sick, and you're like, oh gosh, if I say no, what's going to happen? I'm not going to get the promotion or whatever. Just say no, I can't. I've got a life. But you don't feel obliged to fit in a group, to fit in a category, because the society, we all want to fit in a certain group. Just look at social media. We all scroll down. We all check social media all the time. We compare ourselves so much. But we're trying our best. We do whatever we can do. So I would just say the main thing is people want to succeed and excel in life. And that's when that's when you're facing all those challenges. And this is where you can have struggle with your work-life balance, because you will focus more on work than the rest of the life. So you're gonna forget your personal life, your socializing. I'm gonna turn this conversation in French if I can't find my word in English.
Yes,
anymore.
we speak in French. We want to French. We always do have some French, you know. I had totally forgotten that Jennifer is really, you know, but you wouldn't tell English is really English.
Yeah.
So she's especially bilingual, so she can speak in French or English. She doesn't really, you know. Vous pouvez parler en français puisqu'il y a nous sommes beaucoup qui parlent français.
No. We're not gonna switch. Otherwise, Mercy's gonna get confused there. She's gonna
she speaks French. That was the best French class back in the day. Yeah.
And Adeline, if I start speaking French, it's gonna be a big deal, because my friends start calling me Jean-Claude Van Damme because I speak Franglish. I mix the French and English.
Yeah.
So it doesn't turn out right. So I think my English is a bit better.
Okay.
So anyway, I would just say, don't forget yourself. Don't forget your me time. Don't try to please others. Think about you. Again, coming back to your priorities. What are your priorities in life? What's important to you? Not others. We don't care about others. It's about you, your family, your goal, your whatever you set up. And that's what I think.
So, Mercy, thank you so much, Jennifer. I think you put some of these points that people fail to see. You know, I was speaking with, I think, Mercy yesterday, and we said something truly. We said the fact that you can't touch it, the fact that you can't touch work-life balance, you don't really know when it crawls up your skin, because it's all emotional, it's all in the head, the psychological effects which can accumulate and then start affecting you in a negative way. But the fact that we don't see these things to touch, it makes it so difficult for us to really put our finger where the imbalance is or where we're struggling. So you've actually outlined the areas where people might be struggling, and I kind of really like the way you summarize that into some key points in your slide. And of course, I'll be happy to share the slides like always to our audience. Just show of hand, those who need it, to inbox us their email addresses, and then we'll share the slide. Mercy, tell us a little bit why it is important for us to be balanced. I mean, you can add a bit onto what Jenny has said with regard to the struggle. So if you have anything to add for the struggle, that's fine. But tell us, is it important? Should we actually create a balance? Should we try to create a balance, or should we just go with the flow?
It's extremely important to be balanced. Just to add one, I think Jennifer said it all, why people struggle with work-life balance. But just to add a little thing, some people struggle because they reach a point where they get comfortable instead of accountability. They're supposed to hold themselves accountable than blame everyone for what is not going right in their lives at work or their lives at home. So when you start holding yourself accountable, you tend to plan. When you plan ahead, or most of the time, you get a balanced situation of what is going on. You're able to become aware and balance it up with what is going on. We need to stop blaming, oh, if my kids were so smart, they wouldn't need me for 1 hour to help them with their homework. Or if my husband had to help me, I wouldn't be so tired. Or if my boss would just leave me alone and don't micromanage, I will have a balanced life. So let's not be comfortable. Let's learn to plan ahead of time. Take it ahead of time. Before you get to your work, already have a concept of what your day will look like. Yes, things can happen differently, but then you'll be prepared, all prepared to handle what you plan to handle, that of feeling unsatisfied or unfulfilled because you did not carry out what you wanted or what you did. Plan your day life and your home life. Why is work-life balance important? Oh my God, I read an article like 2 years ago. It was published by a author, Grunhammer, who said, if you don't balance up, you develop mental illness. And people with mental illnesses die 26 years younger. Again, people with mental illnesses die 26 years early. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. Do I have mental illness? No. Do I have work-life imbalance then? Yes. So because of that article, I tried to say no, because sometimes you don't live your life for you. You live it for those who depend on you sometimes. You have little kids, but you're trying to grow them up. You're trying to make sure that you're not living for you. When I realized that I can die 26 years younger, it was a shock. So I tried to put things. And when you try to put things in place, you don't settle on your comfort zone. You try to get out of that box. Don't be scared to be uncomfortable at all. Do not be scared of the unknown. Do not be scared of change. Absolutely. Your opinion should not always matter. It should not always be the only opinion that matters. Listen to other people. Encourage other people. Listen and try to understand. Maybe they have a better idea on how to do things quicker and more efficient than you do. Or maybe their opinion was not the only opinion that counted for that particular project to go on. Now this is COVID time. Some people goals may just have to change totally because some goals will not function online. Some goals, it has to be physical. So people need to reroute, maybe come back to the same spot, but they need to plan, sit and be realistic with themselves and plan ahead of time. You may have to change goals, you may have to, but yes, do that too. You don't want to die 26 years earlier because you will have mental illness, you will have depression, you will have anxiety, you will have insomnia, you will have so many other things which will bring a chain of other diseases if you don't balance your work life. You see somebody, they are 40 years old, they look like 70 because of the stress. It doesn't just affect your mental mind, it affects everything about you. Someone can see you and can easily tell something is going on. We have to create that balance. Sometimes people think it is the job that has a problem or the home that has a problem. That's why you see some people who divorce 4 times because they keep blaming their partner for why their life is not in good shape. So people will change different jobs and still have that imbalance at work. It's time to say, oh, the problem is me. What can I do differently? How can I take responsibility and accountability for my actions or for my laziness? Sometimes your aspirations and what you require to do to get those aspirations conflict. You want to be CEO, but you don't want to do the work. But in your head, the CEO assigns something to you. You're angry because who is he to talk to me? We went to the same school, but you did not go the extra mile. You did not do the sacrifices that that person had to do. Oh, he's CEO just because he has connections. It may happen, but yes, did you have those sleepless nights? Did you try to make those connections? Did you try to study and be first? They wanted just the first person. Did you try to get that position? When you see someone in that position, you try to bring them down and say, oh, I can do it. Why don't you do something for you and get that position? You will not be getting his position, but you'll be getting your own position. It's for you. The worst thing you can do in life sometimes is fail yourself. And when you start feeling as a failure, that's an imbalance right there because your self-confidence is gone. Mm-hmm. When you fail yourself, deep down, I know my potential. Deep down, I know I can do this. Am I doing them? No. But I sleep in bed and I aspire to do that. I aspire to become this. I aspire that, oh, I'll wake up in the morning and have the perfect family and have the perfect job. But I'm not doing anything to work towards that. The world is so competitive these days. The demands are so pressure. They are not hiring you in a company because of the titles behind your name. They are hiring you for the impact, for the change that you bring to boost that company positively. So it is very important that, again, I'll go back to nursing, that we create that homeostasis inside us. You don't clean yourself, you don't feel stable, you don't feel whole, wellness, you will not be able to create that balance with the other people around you. How does your family look at you? How does your community look at you? We all owe them some obligations. How does your job look at you? Are you that person who goes to work and after 2 hours at work, all you're doing is looking for the time, looking at your time. Is it time to go home? Is it time to go home? Are you that person who is just jumping? Oh, happy Friday. And you sleep better on Friday night, Saturday night, come Sunday night, you're not sleeping because you dread going back to work. You may have to make it.
These are very, very difficult to measure because, as we said, psychologically, as we said earlier, psychologically, we're thinking about these things are not tangible. We can't touch them. You know, how do we feel when we are not balanced, when we are imbalanced? How do we feel when we are balanced? Is there something that's being balanced? Important thing and interesting thing for us girls is that we have Dr. Tar, who just joined us. If you can see, he's actually in the studio just laughing at us and thinking, these women, they don't know. But well, I'll be happy to pop him so he can spend 20 minutes with us, and just with your permission as well. We're going to talk a little bit about we're just going to have from a man's perspective what he understands by work-life balance, and then we're going to drive right into the question about men and women. Do they experience work-life balance differently? That way we know we've captured his points at the top and his point at the bottom. And then yeah, so we have about 33 minutes for the show to end. So in the next 15 to 20 minutes, we'll be talking back and forth amongst us, and then we'll wrap up. So before I bring him on, I want to say who Dr. Ta is. We all call him OJ. We know him as OJ. Most of us who know him in the different sphere will say he's a high-level professional, very passionate about women empowerment. Actually, he just recently had a PhD in women's study. So if you see a man going all the way to try to understand women, it is not just because he wants to understand women, but because he understands that there is a gap. There is a gap in our society, in our community. And he wants to bring his all. He wants to bring his expertise. He wants to bring his know-how, try and fill that gap. He wants to be involved when women are making decisions, because he has taken his time to study the things that will help women to get to the boardroom, help women to be more confident, helps women to be more on point to the things that they are doing. And because he's also in a decision-making position, it is a right person to help push our agenda. Sometimes we say 70% or 80% of people in the boardrooms are men. What if we have these men who actually think about us as not just objects, not just token to fill these positions, but as women who have got a contribution to make in corporate decision, in lifestyle decision, and in societal decision. So Ta comes with all this level of expertise, experience, as someone who studied in the UK, worked in different countries in Africa, right now working in South Africa, studied in South Africa, studied in Paris. I mean, he has what it takes. So I'm going to pop in on the screen. I know he has just 20 minutes with us. So I'm not going to be talking a lot because I want him to tell us a little bit about, yeah, you are. Hi. Thank you for joining us so very much, Dr. Ta.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I've been listening with
interest for 1 hour, but now you're here, so yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening with interest what the other panelists have been saying, and very right. And some questions, I think one of the first questions we ask ourselves, or we should ask ourselves, is how do you calculate work-life balance? What's the ratio? How do you calculate? How do you measure work-life balance? If I may step in, it's a personal calculation. It's a personal answer. It's like what they say: beauty lies in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
And if you have a partner who understands and supports you, then it's easier for you to, as an individual, be a man or woman, to make that decision, to know where to get the balance. But if you don't have a partner, if your partner is not that supportive, you always find it very difficult to strike that balance. And if I may go, if I may say bring another point, most people end up in a job that they don't like. If you end up in a job that you don't like, you will be grumpy at work and you take it back home. And when you take it back home, the people at home are the ones who suffer.
Absolutely.
Because you get up in the morning, you're not looking forward to going to work. And when you get back home, you're coming back home with your problems at work. And all of a sudden, your wife talks to you something you don't like, or you wanted fish instead of meat, you lose it. So it's a very, very important thing to have, and it's also a very, very complex thing to understand. If you have a good home life, you will turn out to be very productive at work most of the time. Just as if you have a good and a happy workplace, you end up going home being a happy person. So back to this, from a man's perspective, it's easy. It's easier for men to claim to have a better work-life balance. Because how many men go back home and do the homework with their children? How many men go back home and say they have to prepare food for the family? How many men go back home and have to think about a lot of things at home? I would say many. I've done it. I've been there. I've lived with my kids for 2 years, 2 and 3 years. So I've been there. I can tell you it's not easy, because there are times you're getting back home. Like a man, you don't want to take your problems home. You just want to stop somewhere and have a drink and wind down. But you remember that you know what, you have to get home and you have to see the kids. You have to check on their schoolwork and stuff. So it's not easy. It's easier from a man's perspective, but I can surely tell you from a woman's perspective, especially a modern woman, it's not easy. In a family, it's not easy. It can be very challenging, and it might end up bringing issues in the couple's life. Is that so? I've seen some faces. Are you skeptical about what I'm saying?
Dr. Tar, I am not skeptical
Yes.
at all. I agree with you, and I'll say this. In our traditional attitude, where the woman is the housewife and the man is the one who goes out and do a job with financial compensation, you can have that balance, like I am supporting my family and this is my wife's role, well defined. But in an egalitarian attitude where you have both men and women working and kids in school, who is picking up the kids from school? Okay, we work morning, kids let me tell you about my own life. I'll go to work in the morning, hubby drops them to school, mommy picks them up. We both work morning. By 4, all of us at home. Who is cooking? Who is doing homework? Who is cleaning? Is that man coming to say, oh, after work, my day is done? And is that woman coming with the same attitude? Is the woman coming saying, my day is done? Or is that woman coming like, one part of the day is done, now let me put my mommy hat on and my wife's hat on and start a whole new job or a whole new role? Once that, but if I'm fine with that, if I'm fine with him watching TV while I'm in the kitchen, if it's not stressful for me, if that's what unwinds me from my job in the morning, then that's not an imbalance. But if I'm looking like I've been standing all day, don't you see I need some help? Don't you see this is falling? Don't you see this I'm crawling? Don't you see I'm crashing? And I still have to go serving food, come pick up the plate. So those roles, how stable am I inside? And how long will that stability last? Because sometimes you can only stretch it so far. And what is accumulating in my head? And unfortunately, with psychological stress, it builds up gradually. You most of the time you cannot measure it with a blood test. Like I can test you and say, oh, you have malaria. I can test you have typhoid, you have this. Most of the time I cannot measure it with a blood test. Most of the time it's through surveys or questionnaire, and according to how I answer, that would determine if I am mentally stressed or not. And sometimes people can still manipulate those answers. Sometimes people can say yes when they mean no, and you cannot have a true measure of what is going on until they become malfunctioning in the society and even in their own home. Then you stand up one day and say, oh, I didn't see this coming. It's because you did not pay attention. And it's because that person going through that stress did not get her situation under awareness as well, or ask for help, like Jennifer said. Ask for help. If
so
you
with this, sorry, Mercy, just to bounce on the question, would this answer of Dr. Carr, would this answer to, because both of you have made a very valid point on how women and how men react to stress. So does this answer to the question of men and women experience, sorry, not stress, experience work-life balance differently? And then secondly, is there any physical implications? Because a man, is there anything that might signify that a man is much more physical than a woman? He's going to balance area of work-life balance. Is work-life balance purely psychological, or is there some element of physical? And because of the way a man is built up, you know.
To answer your question, it's the first thing that the first part of the question, the first question, is there different? Do men and women experience work-life balance differently? The answer is I believe we do experience it differently based on the points we already just mentioned and the kind of job we do as well. You know, most men tend to keep up the stress, bottle it in, and we have different ways of taking it out. Some men would like to have a quiet drink. Some men would just want to sit down with their friends and chat, and that takes off the stress. A lot of women would talk to their mom, or a lot of women would start shouting, and at the man's ear, and at the risk of becoming becoming a broken record. But the point I wanted to make to that is, or I'm trying to make to that is, communication. If there is no communication between the two parties, that assuming you have a partner, a wife, husband, whatever, and you start feeling like what my co-panelist mentioned, that you are stressed, you are doing the work, and you're seeing your partner watching TV, watching football. I'm guilty of that. I know that for a fact. When it's football time, it's football time. What has not been done before or after? Watching football, and you don't come and talk, or after it, you don't tell your partner that I was stressed and you didn't help me, and you keep it in. And it's just only going to build up. It's only going to build up. And there will be a day you come and put up that TV, and you know what will happen. The man is going to step out, and he's going to come back at 1 a.m. And the next day he's going to say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to watch the TV at home because she might come and say she wants to do something, and she's going to watch it outside. And what you've created there is an avenue for divergence. Because all of a sudden he realizes that he can watch the soccer outside, out of the home, have a beer at the same time, chat with his friends, and he only comes back tired. And there is little or no communication between the two of you. So you need to have that communication. Both parties have to have the communication. There might be a day you're running late, or you might not even be running late, you're tired. Just call the husband and say, could you pick up the kids? And you'll be surprised. You will be surprised, 9 out of 10 times. But if you start making it a habit, that's where there's a problem.
What you're saying, Dr. Tar, is that work-life balance is a whole lot of work. But then you've gone to the effect of work-life balance. If there is no balance at the level of this, you might find something that is going to make you feel comfortable, make you feel happy, like the football.
We all have, we call it filthy habits. Okay? For you, for women, you go to church. For some women, the end of cooking or the end of chatting with their mothers and friends. For most, football, sports, a beer, a good drink, and chatting with your friends. So what you have to do as to keep, and here we are assuming you have a partner, okay? Because if you don't have a partner, what you do out of work is up to you. It can still have an influence on your performance at work. But if you have a partner and a home to manage, you don't have the luxury of after work stopping at the bar, having a beer, getting home at 10 p.m. and crashing and leaving the next day. You have to manage that. And that comes with looking forward to going back home. If your wife is a good cook and you know she's a good cook, and you have a feeling that today is going to be fufu and ill. Tell your man's going to be rushing back home, smiling. But only for him to get back home and you make a truth that he doesn't like. And you didn't have the courtesy, or you don't think it's only important to say, well, I got back, I wasn't feeling strong enough, and there was only a truth in the fridge, so I walked. In his mind, it's like, so I came home just to eat achu. Well, I was thinking, today was the day, was our day, was the day for my end.
Mm-hmm.
You only saw the evening or the rest of the week, whether you like it or not.
So I can see two ways. I can see someone rushing from work to go home, not because they hate their job, but because there's something interesting at home for them. It could be
exactly,
you know, but not because they hate their job. And I can see someone. Yes, I can see someone going.
They're actually at work that day, enjoying the work because they are looking forward to the prize at the end of the day, and that prize is going back home and seeing their family and spending time with their family.
So Jennifer, is this something? Is this okay, Dr. Tao? So why not? Can you link? I mean, is this because we all agree? You know, everybody on the planet agree that psychologically you can't touch work-life balance, but it's just based on your action. Can you link? I want to see the analogy. Yes.
But it's back to we are the same. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus, something like that.
Yes.
We are physically, whether we like it or not, different. In my thesis, just the point of my thesis was from the corporate governance side of it. But I looked at the impact of having women on boards. And what I found was women are different. That's the reality. Physically, they are different. Psychologically, most women, the general acceptable practice is women are risk adverse and men are risk takers.
Mm-hmm.
That means you don't have outliers. Women would take the comfort of a scenario. They'll take the safer option. Partly because women think more of the future. It is said, and I'll use a political example, that a man, when he wants to go out with a girl or wants to marry a girl, the question is, who has this girl gone out with? Has he gone out with my friends, my brother, or someone I know? Looking at the past. A woman, before going out and marrying a man, thinks of the future. Can this man take care of me, my children, provide for me? She really, 9 out of 10 times, doesn't care whether he's gone out with her sister, her friend, or whoever. So already, those are two schools of thought. Physically, we are different. We handle stress, we men, handle stress differently than women. And the kind of jobs people do also matters. If a man works a blue-collar job, where he goes out each day and physically exhausts himself, the way you deal with the stress at home, a psychological stress, will be way different than from somebody who has a white-collar job where the level of stress is more mental.
I think that explains a lot of things that, you know, it explains a lot of things that you've just discussed in the last 10 minutes. It also connects with some of the things that Nancy and Jennifer have been saying about stress and why it is important for us to have a balanced life. And also, the fact that these things are things that we don't touch. So each individual has to have their ways of knowing how they normally should be, and when they are affected, if it is due to stress, if it is due to imbalance, if it is due to depression, or psychological,
Because if I may add something, even women, you can't expect a lady who is a nurse or a doctor and does 12-hour shifts, mainly standing, okay? mainly on her feet to react to a certain scenario at home in the same way like someone who goes to work spends 8 or 10 hours sitting and dealing and managing people. The realities are different, and that affects or nurtures our reaction to stress. Well, you see that many people who are used to dealing with mental stress at work turn to bottle it up at home for longer until it is too late.
Yeah, I can
We
agree.
see it.
Yeah.
But
So, Dr.
someone who- yeah.
There's a little bit of agree and I don't agree. So I just want to understand what you're saying. You used the nurse as an example. So you mean by her environment or the fact that she's standing for 12 hours straight?
The environment, maybe environment, what she sees at work, and the physical tiredness that comes with that.
Okay, because the thing is, you've missed a little bit of my background, but I work in hospitality and we would stand up for 10 to 12 hours straight with just half an hour break. And then I completely switch, and now I'm more sitting behind a desk for the past year. So I've kind of done both. And yes, indeed, physically, it's not the same fatigue. But I have found out lately that actually it's quite draining as well when you work just with your brain, because it's two different fatigues. So when you have a physical job and when you're sitting behind your desk, it's absolutely different. So yes, I agree with some of what you're saying. Yes, indeed. But also, for me, my point is you have to team up. As you said, your partner needs to help you. And if you team up, you will find the perfect balance. The reason why is when we discussed with Mercy earlier on, we mentioned how she laughed because I use this new term since COVID-19 and we're all in isolation. I call myself a mommy cheerpreneur because I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, and now I'm an entrepreneur. We're doing all this job at once, and it's full on. But thanks to one of my husband, who has been very, very supportive, because doing homeschooling with your kids is very demanding. It's not your job. It's something that, as Mercy said, explain in 5 minutes, the kids will get it. She's going to spend the whole day explaining the same topic and he doesn't get a thing. And I'm going through exactly the same thing. And then on the top of it, if you have to be just housewife and your husband is not helping or your partner or whatever, you will end up having to do the cooking. You will have to end up doing your work because we're all working from home, most of us, and everything else. So yes, I think the next after COVID-19 we'll have to open a lot of more mental institutes because I don't think we are made to be able to deal with all that pressure. So it's part of work-life balance. So if you team up with your partner and you split the task, my husband is doing the cooking. He's a former chef. So he loves cooking. He's always been doing it. Then I'm doing the drop-off. He does the pickup or the other way around. It comes back to plan ahead. You just need to organize your personal life as you would organize your work. Your work is not more important. You just need to be focused on work when you're at work and focus at home when you're at home. Give your full attention to your family. So this is just as important as work. That's what I'm saying. But as long as you have your own things, my husband, I wanted to jump in when you said football. I should never dare interrupting a football match when he's working. He's watching Manchester United. I will get what
Man boy there.
So if I just step in or I just say, hey, that's it. Head shut off. But that's true. That's a problem. So when he's watching his football, I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. But it's just for an hour or 90 minutes, whatever. I don't just narrate. But I've supported him for 19 years. We did it. It worked. So it's just you have to team up. You need to understand that's his me time, my me time. If I'm on a phone call with a friend or whatever I'm doing, and I say I leave you the kids, it's communication. It comes back to communication. If you have a structure at home, communication, respect each other, and there's no man's work or women's work as such in 2020. It's over. That time is over. If it works better for you that your housewife is a housewife, that's her full-time job, and you have the other arrangements, I agree. But if you manage to get this structure in place in your own home, you will reach a very good work-life balance.
I agree with you. Like I said earlier, well, the first thing I said was flat communication. And also, just back on the physical aspect, women, that you go through periods in the month where you have your hormones. And that will determine also, for some women, it impacts how you react to certain things. So key, the buzzword for me, or the buzzwords would be teamwork, right? Communication.
Absolutely.
And like you said one thing which I'd agree and I would not agree, is work is work, home is home. You are in a job where you can't switch off, okay? You can't dare switch off. Switching off means can be the difference between life or death, or the company staying afloat or not. But that is planning, making sure when it's your time, when you say, okay, I'm home, you may be physically home, but you're still at work. But you give your attention to what has to be done at that time. And if there's an emergency, you communicate and say, I need to do this. If you have to switch on your computer, I need to do it. This is urgent.
I agree on that. What I meant by that is if you, let's just say you are doing something with your kid, give them full attention. Don't have your hands on your device, on checking your emails. So that's what I meant, because I also work from home, and sometimes in the evening I will switch on my laptop when they're in bed or whatever. So I completely understand, depending on your position. But that's what I meant. When you're at home, you're at home. But it depends on what you're doing. It's just give full attention if you're with your kid, rather than being on your phone and doing half of it.
Let's take some questions. I think it's important for us to take some questions.
Dr. Tai, can I say something? Right, because in one of my slides, I actually said, hello?
Yeah.
Actually, there's a time to log in, and there's a...
We seem to have lost you.
Hi, Mercy.
Sometimes, right. You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes it depends on the... You have to be able to plug and unplug. You cannot work 24/7. You have to be able to make that boundary where you say, this is time for my kid. It's a place where I say plug in and plug out.
I've lost that bit.
When you are at home, be at home. If not, your work will mentally drain you. Some roles at work do not permit you to unplug 100% after you physically leave work. That's why when you are at work, you have to be able to give yourself 100% there. Do as much as you can so that it doesn't follow you home. You don't take your work laptop home, and you don't take your work phone home. Even if you have to, when they are calling you from work, let it be because they are informing you about something. And they can quickly do that via text or email, or don't call you at all. Let it not be because they are calling you for guidance all the time. Then you have failed to train your subordinates. The force of the leader is the force of the gang. When you train them well, you plan them well, you set your day well. Healthcare emergencies happen, I get it. But that's why when you leave, someone takes over for you. If they are calling you, it's because they absolutely have to. If we do not unplug from work, I don't care what role you have. I used to feel I worked at a job where I thought I was the best person to do what I had to do. No, I have to be confident enough to train somebody and trust them that when I am not there, when I'm having my serenity time, they are able to carry out just as perfect as I am. If they keep calling me, then not only they are failing or they don't have confidence in themselves, it's because I have failed as well to train them.
Mercy,
And this leads to mental clogging. You clog up you're talking with somebody, your phone is, you multitasking, and it becomes unhealthy. And just like Jennifer said, sometimes the mental part, let me tell you, it affects your brain and your nerves. It takes a toll on every part of you. You have headache, you start feeling despair. But when you multitask so much, most of the time you're not giving your 100% to all of it. You're dividing and you're not being your best. You're not being the best mom. You're not being the best wife. You're not being the best CEO. You're divided all around. You start having headaches.
Mercy, if I may.
You start feeling inconfident. You start eating more or eating less. You start having memory issues. You start sleeping less. It starts showing even on your skin. You start breaking out acne. Your muscles are aching. Your neck is painful. Your heart starts beating fast. Blood pressure comes in.
You, because I see what saying. I agree with Dr. Tar. We do take risk at work. We all handle stress in different ways. It is important to understand the different personalities. Some of us thrive in high pressure jobs. So,
exactly. Mercy, if I may, we are enjoying.
I'll tell you, Dr. Tai, if you thrive in high pressure job, if you are always in pressure, this is what will happen. Number one, that is the situation, you can handle it. Number two, it doesn't become of you doing it good, it becomes you just tolerating it. Number three, it becomes toxic, then you crash. You can only stretch this far. Once you keep stretching, it cuts at one point.
How long is a piece of string? Mercy, you just taken the words off my mouth for what I want to respond to Wase's message. But what I want to say to you, to your point, is the first thing for everybody is to know their strengths.
Right.
That's the first thing. Know your strength. Like you said, you are only as strong as the guy. My motto in all my jobs and in all my teams, I've always said we are only as strong as the weakest link in the team. So if the weakest, it's your or my responsibility to make sure the weakest member of the team becomes the strongest member in any other team. But unfortunately, like we know, there are some roles, when you're in the C-suite, you don't have the luxury of plugging off or plugging in. You have the luxury of dialing down, not unplugging. You dial down, and that is where, like Jennifer mentioned, and when you are at home, you are dialed down, you give your attention to the kids, to the family, and if you look well, historically, the C-suite people, you only plug off when you take the 2 weeks off. You take your 2 weeks and say, okay, this is me. I'm going to the village. I'll have no connections. Okay? And there's only one person who has the number that can get hold of you in case of that life or death emergency. And that period, you are with the family. You are, for you yourself, it's a regeneration. Because you come back refreshed. You come back ready to go again. Like, I've seen it, I've experienced it a lot of times. Guilty of taking the laptop. I used to say, no, I have to do this, I have to do that. When you're young and vibrant and energized. But as you the ladder, all of a sudden you start realizing you don't have to work hard, you have to work smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
You have to work smart. It's not the number of hours in a day. There'll be a day you decide, you know what, at midday, you know what, I'm going to go home today. I'm going home. In fact, I'm leaving the job.
Eat your favorite. And what if your wife is not there to cook your favorite food? That's Mimi asking that question. I just saw it.
Well, if your wife is not there to cook your favorite food, you cook the food for yourself.
Amen to that.
I cook, so why not? If you can't cook, order it. If you can't watch football, or golf, or basketball, or have a good drink,
Dr. Carl, this Solange just said, live your life and don't live the life of other people. The life other people want you to live. It is your life. Yes, consider other people's perspective, but also check this back with you. And if it really works for you, so that goes for you, that goes for Jennifer, and that goes for Mercy as well. So I think we all on the same wavelength there. That's why we're talking about work-life balance, because sometimes it's so hard to balance this up. And this will bring us to our last question, which is actually a solution. What solution can we give to work-life balance? What are some of the ways we can advise our audience today to balance their lives? So maybe we start with Jenny. If you have a few points to put, I know I'm just trying to take off the comment of the screen. So if we have to balance, what are the advice we can do?
Number one, sometimes I like to say, educate your bubble about what's going on in your life, your bubble, your inner circle, your family, your close friends, and so on. Some people know that if they call me on Monday, I may not get back to them on Wednesday. Some people know that Friday is the best time to get me. So when they know your realities and they know kind of your schedule and your immediate family, even your kids at home, sometimes they know about what your job entails. And they know about letting you rest or getting some distraction when you come home. So educate your bubble, your inner bubble, about what's going on with you. That way they can even help balance you up. They can say, hey, I know Wednesday is your stressful day. I'm driving by your job. This is your break time, right? Do you mind let me take you out for 30 minutes break before I drop you back? They help you balance it up when they kind of know your timetable. You know who to call if you're having problems. You know who to call if you celebrate. Not everybody who celebrates with you will mourn with you. So you know who to call if something is going wrong. And sometimes they will not fix that problem, but they will help you release that energy out. They will help you create an outlet for what is bothering you. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll release the problem. Like communication at home with the spouse. Hey, bad day, not today. You do this. So be able to create that boundary and to say no. Don't say yes when you mean no. Then you start having other things in your plate. You were supposed to leave at 4. Your kid have an appointment at 2:30, and you already let your boss know. But now something come up. Are you staying, or are you going to your family? Or you stay, then you start driving home feeling like a bad parent. It's all that start giving you psychological stress. Create that boundary where work time is work time, leisure time is leisure time. I will still say blog and not.
You're advising us to create the boundary, to identify when we can say when we shouldn't do A and when we should do B, to really make sure we are on top of the things that we have to do and when we have to do it, and to prioritize. So going forward, you have to prioritize you have to prioritize. And thank you, Mercy. Let's quickly, I know time is of the essence, everybody. Let's quickly pop up to Jennifer. I know she put up some points which she might just want to read out for us so that we see how we can do things differently.
Mm-hmm. So, just to recap. So I would, as Mercy mentioned earlier, I would say the very, very important point is to get organized and plan ahead. Manage your time wisely. So planning ahead could be such small things just as getting your menu ready for the following week, getting all these little things like checking your your calendar for the next day, the day before. So just plan ahead. It's very important. Managing your time. How much time do you spend on things that are not important? Track your time, monitor it on a weekly basis to see what you're doing, and then get rid of the tasks that you're not really that are not important.
Yeah.
And then if you can put that slide back, thanks, Adeline. Oh yes, learn to say no. I'm not going to go back to that. Set priorities. Mercy just mentioned all this. Set up boundaries, she said. Don't forget to eat well, exercise daily, rest well. That's a point that we didn't bring up so much today, but it's part of organizing your day. Often we hear people keep saying, oh, I don't have time to cook. so I eat junk food. Oh, I don't have time to exercise because I've got kids. Or I don't. You don't sleep well. You sleep just a few hours a night. So you just need to make it work. At the end of the day, it's all about planning and organizing yourself. Change your unhealthy habits. Take some time for yourself. Don't forget your me time, and make your own choices today. Because at the end of the day, as I said earlier on, we don't work to live. We don't work to enjoy. And as I always use it as an example, you would revise or review your business plan every 6 months because the world is changing and everything is changing. Do the same with your life. Because if you keep going on for 2-3 years and you're not happy in some places, whatever job you're doing, there might be things that change. Review your life every 6 months if you have to see if you have to tweak things or just like just now COVID-19. A few weeks ago, I had to tell my husband. He said, "Oh my God, you're horrible. You're like, I'm staying away from you. You're grumpy, snappy." Oh, and because I felt so much pressure with that homeschooling, and I had a lot of projects to get on, and I had all this, and it was too much. And I told him, so he took the kids to the park all week. So it's going back to communication. Set up a plan, organize yourself, communicate well, and I would say don't forget yourself. And say no and make changes. No matter what you don't like in your life, you are responsible for your own choices. Nobody else are. We tend to always complain and criticize everybody else. We blame everybody, when in fact we shouldn't blame anyone. We should just make our own choice.
Okay, sorry, thank you. Before we get to Dr. Tara, sorry, Nola just said, women sometimes we really need to communicate our needs. Raising my 2 boys, working full time and taking care of my home was exhausting. I was losing it, washing my paper, relax, after a while. When I did all the chores, I had to pick up, and today there is division of labor in my house, and everyone is happy. There you go. You have to learn how to really communicate. So, Dr. Tara, what is it that we have to do differently? So I'm just trying to hide this message.
My points are communication, both internally with yourself and with your partner. So you have to know yourself, know your strength, know what works for you, and know what doesn't work for you. And in the same light, know what helps your partner be at her best, his or her best, and support. And in only that manner would you be able to complement each other and identify without the others even telling you that they've had a bad day. Because for example, when I call my wife, she knows from the way, if she calls me, she knows from the way when I answer, she's like, how's work? That's very important. Being able, because it shows the empathy. And us as men, we're usually not very good at that. The women are way better than that in that aspect. To identify just from your face, your visual expression. When you're driving, usually they'll tell you, if don't do, just relax, leave daddy alone. Men, maybe see it, but we don't express it, but we should be much more involved in that communication aspect. Communication is 2 ways. And I must say, when you get involved with your kids' upbringing, there is a bond that you develop with those kids that is priceless. No amount of money, can give you that bond. You know your children, you understand your children, and they trust you. Most of us grew up in the olden days where communication with parents was close to non-existent. Especially with the father. When you hear that dad is coming home, oh Jesus, you start thinking what for that day. What did you do wrong? Everything. Rarely would you go and sit and say, Dad, how was your day, and stuff like that. So we're trying to do that personally with my children. So I would say communication 1, know yourself, know your strengths 2, and get a job that you love.
Yeah. Number one.
You will not settle for a partner that you don't like or you don't love. Get a job that you love. It's not only, but try. Like Jennifer said, reevaluate your life. If you're in a job and after 6 months or 1 year, you realize that you're not going to the job to work in the morning, then ask yourself, is it really, do I really want this job? It may be time to start looking for another job.
Exactly.
Because if you're in the morning and you enjoy going to work, just as you enjoy coming back home, then I bet you'll be a happy man.
True. True. And to add to that, Dr. Tah, when you love your job, even if you compare with a previous job that you make more financially and get a job that you absolutely love, even if the financial compensation is lesser than what you made before, the fulfillment is greater and it's something you cannot buy. You feel fulfilled, exactly. You feel up to the task, you feel satisfied. You can't buy that with money. And to add one more thing, I just want to say, we matter. This goes to both men and women. We living life and we working, we matter. Let's take some time to appreciate ourselves, give a pat on our shoulders and say we did it. Let's accept our accomplishments. Let's not just keep going without breaking. Then we will break. Let's say, oh, I achieved this. Take that moment to embrace yourself.
Absolutely.
That way you feel a sense of achieving something. You just don't minimize it. Some people have some dreams and they say, oh, is that anything? They just keep going. It is not how fast. It is how far. And it is how you go through that process, how you make that journey worthwhile. Then you can balance up everything. Sometimes in life you cannot, but you can work a job that you don't like, but in your head you know it's a passage. It's because my kids are this is. Balance it up as much as you can to have that stability.
If we are giving one final, let's all give like one final word each of us. Let's start with Mercy because we're already there. So we are 15 minutes into our extra time, so I wouldn't have time to do my conclusion, but that's fine. So we have 2 minutes before we close. So 30 seconds each. So Mercy,
okay.
We'll try.
Yeah. Okay, living life is very difficult. Living a working life is extremely difficult. But at the end of the day, do not be scared. In one of my slides, you see some oranges. Some people will be like, what is that? Squeeze yourself to your maximum as far as you can go. You'll produce more juice. You'll realize your potential on how to balance your life more. If you do what you can do best, love your job, love yourself, do your best, you know your best, exceed your potential so that you can be happy. And when you're happy, you balance up evenly.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Jennifer?
I just want to say what I just said earlier. So review your life right now, check what works, what doesn't work, make some changes. And I would also advise you, as Mercy mentioned earlier, celebrate your wins. On a weekly basis, I started doing it a few months ago. Toward the end of the week, you feel like you haven't achieved so much. You're thinking, oh, I haven't done much, or whatever you feel. Start thinking of what is that win. Give yourself 3 wins that you've done and write them down. It's something that might be silly, but psychologically, it's really, really fulfilled. You feel like you've achieved a few things. So do it on Friday, whatever days work for you. I think it's very important to remind yourself that you are strong no matter what you're doing, and you're doing your best, particularly at this challenge this time.
Thank you, Jenny. Dr. Tah, there's a word you want people to put back to them in work-life balance. What would that be?
Know yourself, know your strength, know your weaknesses, and build on those strengths without forgetting the weaknesses. For me, it's a quote from the late great Nelson Mandela. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. Know your strength, know your partner's strength, know what you want, live the life. We are on earth to live and leave a legacy. Make it better for the rest. Let's put our footprints on rock so it can last for the next generation, not on sand, which can be washed away by the waves. Thank you.
Wow. So it's about footprint, legacy, because if something happens to you without achieving the things that you were designed for and you're not here anymore, there's not going to be any legacy or footprint. So the fact that you have to balance your life simply means you are preparing yourself or you're working towards the direction of staying collected to achieve all the things that you have to. Thank you guys so much for accepting the invitation. I had to struggle a lot with Dr. Kyle. We're talking about work-life balance and making it possible, but I had to struggle a lot about getting him on the show today. I wasn't even sure he was going to make it. We had already taken him off, but thank you. Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you.
You wanted a man's perspective, and you gave us all the fufu and arrow and the achu and the part that. So now we know.
Well,
Thank you.
the key.
Yeah, of course.
You to get to a man's head, get his stomach. If you get the stomach, you get to a man's head and heart. So
we have different problems, men and women, and we're trying to see how we can balance this problem so that we all live happily with each other without, biting each other's head or getting so. It has been amazing. I think this topic is a topic that we cannot exhaust it in a 1.5 hour program because there is so much we need to talk about. I mean, we didn't even go very deeply into the psychological effects of all this and how you can heal from all this. I know Mercy tried to talk about some of these, but there is so much. And we're going to come back with a part 2, that's for sure, because there are some other elements which we need to see. The level of the lack of balance can stretch us to, and what happens when you meet that breaking point and where to get to. So we'll be coming back with, on another session. So thank you guys. I'm going to kick you off my studio and I'm just going to say bye to the rest of the viewers. I'll remove you first, last in, first to go. I'll remove you, Mercy, second in, second to go. And I'll remove you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for tuning in as usual. The participants today was truly high. I kind of liked the level of at which people were joining the show. It means we're saying things that that they found worthy, that they found interesting. And I'm sure we will catch up with you next week. Next week, we'll be talking about financial security. We know the problems that most corporate women have. It's about managing their cash, managing their money. How do you plan so that at the end of the month, you still have that money? We know we all have different problems. That is why we'll be bringing experts, those who are in top positions, who can help us with case studies of how they did it when they were junior and how they're doing it now that they are senior. So thank you so much for joining us. It has been the Corporate Women in Leadership, and it has been work-life balance, making it work for you. So I'll be seeing you next week. Thank you. Bye.